as far as the shot, one of the reasons I was so interested in flying down to Atlanta and seeing the overtime product in person is because I wanted to see the Thompsons shooting development from last year in overtime's first year as a league to this year. And when I got there, and you're just watching them shoot around as they prepare for the pro day, they're not going through drills or anything yet. It felt like watching Ausar shoot was, yes, it was a little mechanical, but it was also mechanical in the right ways. It was, I am trying to work out the kinks in my jumper, and this is a practice time. This is for me to get it out, and there are moments where it's going to look smooth because all of those mechanical points are hit, and then there are going to be times where it just looks a little step 1, step 2, step 3, and it misses, and it looks not so great. But I think overall, especially when you got into the drills where he's going into the mid post and he's spinning and he's fading, and there's less time to just think about all the different things, there was a smoothness to it that I was like, oh, that's very encouraging. It looks almost up top. It looks very like traditional in a good way. I think sometimes where he loses it is, his base, which is much, much improved. Again, this looks like a pretty traditional shooting base, but at times, the top and the bottom can be a little bit disjointed on the timing of things, and that's kind of where it is. But when it's all on time, it's good. And, I think he was over 40% at one point. I think he's at 33% from 3 now. But when I see him shoot it off the catch, I think a lot of times I say, okay, that's going to be a workable shot in the league. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think he's going to get that sorted out. He's going to be a guy. Yeah, he's not going to be Kyle Korver flying around screen shooting 40% on high volume, but he's going to be a guy that you can't leave open. You can't really help off of, and who's going to be willing to shoot it. I think he's shown some flashes off the bounce where, again, there's not really as much time to sit and think, because if that happens, somebody's going to recover and put a hand in your face, right? So you want to get it off a little bit quicker. I'm pretty bullish on him as a shooter in the long term, even though it's not perfect. The free throw shooting, 64%.
Yeah.
Not great. And I actually think his free throw shooting is a little bit less pretty at times than the jumper is, because when you're at the line by yourself, you have time to go through all those mechanical steps, and it feels that way. But ultimately, I think eventually he's going to be a guy who's probably in that 73 to 76% range from the free throw line, which is important because, which we'll discuss later, I think he's going to get there a fair amount. But ultimately, I think he's a guy who is going to be able to make that shot serviceable enough that he can use it as a weapon to do different things, because if you don't guard it, I think he's shown that he's gonna be able to hit it. And I think, some of the things that he's flashed, I like a lot of the mid-range stuff too, because I think that mid-range, that mid-post is an area where he could really be like a 3-level guy. And I think that's important when I look at him as a player. There's a path where he's a very, very complete, like small forward, power forward, 2-guard, this wingy hybrid who could score at all 3 levels. And he's made some really nice moves. There's one possession where his handle actually got a little loose. I think he had isolated Bryce Warren, and he just got to the right elbow, and he kind of blew by him with his quick first step and got a jump on him, and just stopped and popped over the elbow, and like the elevation, and it looked so smooth coming off his hand, and it's just nothing but net right off the elbow. There's another play where he was in the mid post and he just did a little back down, turn over the left shoulder, and off the backboard. Like there's some nice mid post area stuff for Ausar. And because he's athletic, and I think what I like about it, and I know he's not, I think he's shooting 31% from the mid-range. Shout out to Drew Gooden's suit on Twitter, who had a good thread about like some of the finishing stuff for the Thompson twins. So like that's not like an awesome percentage, but I like what I see. And the volume's so low that if he had just made, 2 more or whatever, that percentage probably much closer to where you want to see. But I like what I see out of it. So I like him as a potential 3-level guy because I think he's going to be a guy who can get to that mid-range spot, face up, and just rise up and score. And I think that could be a really interesting wrinkle to his game.